Okay, we are broadcasting live, getting ready for a Timelines interview with Jerry Mills from Chicago. I want a couple seconds of silence. He's using a Yeti, and I'm getting a little bit of sound. I can take that out in post-production. All right, Jerry, welcome to Timelines. This is your interview. It's going to be in 3 parts. I'm going to get the magic timer going here. This is the high-speed. In fact, I bought it on Amazon.
There you go.
I buy almost everything on Amazon, almost everything. I always compare on Amazon. So, Jerry, tell a listener something that will grab their attention about what you do and why you do it.
Yeah, well, I think that Amazon is the easiest way for a regular person to make a side or even full-time income, such as myself, selling online. So, in fact, I just saw a recent message from Amazon from Jeff, and basically said that there's over 70,000 sellers on Amazon that are selling over $100,000 a year right now in the Amazon marketplace. So there's so much opportunity that this is really the time. It's the easiest entry for a regular person to do to make money online, in my opinion.
That is really good. That's really good. So how did you stumble into Amazon and figure out how to make money? That's something that I haven't done. I played around. In fact, I consider Amazon a pain in the butt. They've canceled my accounts a few times. I've restarted them. I've got 20 websites, and maybe that's why. I don't know. But so what are the tricks in Amazon?
Well, how it started really was my wife and I just had a dream of being able to leave the 9-to-5, to not work for somebody else, but instead to work for ourselves and to take control over our life and our schedule. And we tried a couple different things, like a lot of people. She saw some people online that were having success, it seemed, doing MLM, multi-level marketing, and so we tried that, selling legal insurance, and then another one was internet marketing. And even though we didn't have any success with that, we bought into the dream. First, it starts with having that belief that your reality can change, that it is possible, even if it's the last 10, 15 years you've been struggling. And that's sort of my story, really. I got a degree in acting. I'm an actor in Chicago, and then I was involved in church ministry work. Neither one of those is very lucrative.
I saw that. I saw that acting. You know, it's sort of hit or miss. It's hit the big times, but it's a very rewarding skill set too. After you beat your head against the wall a few times.
Right. Well, yeah. For instance, the most interesting man in the world, you know, he never got cast in anything until that, basically. So you never know when you're going to hit it. But like Wayne Gretzky said, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you never take. So.
Right. I've got to think this platform that we're on today, this new social media, like we're just talking, is a great way to practice and get better.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just communication. It's always valuable to have those communication skills. And I do believe that my acting background has served me well in both the business world and in terms of conversations such as this.
So you're stumbling through the process, and you're trying to figure out how to make money online. Basically, that's what it sounds. Did you pick up any books or find anything that you used as a template to start?
No, it basically was another business opportunity that was marketed online, and it started with selling on eBay. And went through this little course on how to flip items. Basically, think about flipping houses. Similar things. You're going to take items that you can find at a regular store, and then be able to flip those on eBay by marketing it with really good keywords and having those good pictures and so forth. And so how it started with was just the proof of concept. I started off like a lot of people, and sort of like what you're saying is, can you really make money? And that's how I was at first too. So I started, and then all of a sudden you make your first sale, and you're like, whoa, you know, this actually worked. And then you make a few more, and then you start raising your goals. And then I had a goal at first, very, very humble, is if I could make an extra $20 a day, this would be an extra car payment. Then it was an extra $50 a day. And then what if I could make $100 a day doing this? So over the course of 2 years, migrated to Amazon's platform, because Amazon is just it's the big man on campus. It is the elephant in the room, and that's where everybody just naturally goes. So it's the best real estate because it's the web, so it's the best store on every corner. And so that is really what makes selling on Amazon so attractive. You've got free real estate, and that it doesn't cost to sell professionally. It's $40 a month. That's it. And you essentially have a store within their giant web marketplace store, bazaar, and they drive the traffic to you. So it's really a matter of marketing the items efficiently, having those good keywords and using keyword tools so that people find your products. And there's actually 101 ways to actually sell on Amazon as well. People are now doing T-shirts on Amazon. They're doing private label brands you import from China. We're starting to work on that. And then you can do simple flips by going to your local Walmart, finding clearance stuff, scanning it with your phone, getting a haul, and shipping that in. In fact, I've got a good friend. He goes and basically talks to the store manager and makes an offer on buying their entire clearance section, has a big truck, and basically invests $5,000-$6,000 for $20,000 or $30,000 worth of product, and then ships that in to Amazon to do the fulfillment.
So you actually have to ship it into them.
Yeah, that's fulfillment by Amazon. So that's one method. Or you can do fulfillment by merchant, which is basically just doing arbitrage yourself and drop shipping it from a supplier directly, which is actually how a lot of retailers are doing it anymore. They don't ever touch the product. They don't have to warehouse it. They just make relationships with furniture brands and so forth. Skinnier margins, but it's a lot easier to just, because of the computer age, and like you said, some of the episodes I listened to, in this new media economy, so much can just be done to scale online. The logistics is a lot more streamlined. You probably couldn't have done this 10 years ago.
Yeah, it really is changing substantially. I noticed in Southern California, my sister can order by like 12 o'clock, and that night in the evening, the Uber people come out and drop her package between like 6 and 9.
I think it's such a cool thing that we're basically creating jobs by crowdsourcing, and all these sort of crowdsource, here in Chicago, the same thing. I know other actors, their day job is Instacart, delivering things, groceries. Google's gotten into it, Google Express, and different things. And so this sort of service economy, and why not utilize Uber or these other resources? It was interesting. There was a big, it was a TED Talk, a TEDx or a TED Talk by somebody talking about e-commerce and kind of looking into the future. And he speculated that Amazon would buy a shipping company, or they would try and buy the U.S. Postal Service and use post offices as Amazon distribution center. So kind of interesting, but I think that Uber is even going beyond that.
Take over the post office.
Right?
We have a really good friend who's a top manager in UPS. I mean, a top manager. He's in the top regional manager. He lives here in Reno, and he commutes in this UPS car over to the Bay Area, San Francisco, and stays there during the week and then comes back here. Yeah. But he's talking. It's really interesting to listen to his stories and what's happening out there in the world of shipping. And it's just people like Amazon, of course, the drones. They did the first drone delivery to an address here in Nevada a few weeks ago.
Wow.
We have a lot of drone development here. That's one of our signatures in Nevada is drone development.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Private and public.
I think that's going to scare a lot of people at first.
You're going to have your first. Where they're using it now is out in the ranches and the ranchettes, and basically it goes out, and I guess there's a way you can land it, or there's another way they lower a cord, and it's up to 5 pounds. So where you'll see it first will be in the ranchettes out here in Nevada. We're very spread out. Even around Reno, within 30 miles, there's a lot of small ranches and horses, and it's natural horse country. So yeah, that's where you'll see it used first, and it'll work. It'll definitely work. They're testing it right now.
Yeah, but I love all the innovations.
For books and stuff, and they're charged and all that sort of thing. So that sounds, okay, give me some advice. I do like $10 a month on Amazon. How could I boost that up without putting a lot of time? Now, I sell primarily, the microphones. I've got my little list on resources, and that's about it. Is there something else I should do? I mean, the whole idea on this online or podcasting business is to figure out multi-sources of income as far as I can see. So you need to get into one, work on that, work on the next one. The other thing I want to mention, did you happen to ever read The $100 Startup?
Chris?
Yep. I won't try to say his name, Gilgado.
I wasn't going to try either. I have. There's lots of interesting stories from different people.
I don't know if it ever really caught on or got that big. I compared the price. It's only in hardcover on Amazon, and it's like $14 on Amazon, but it was $23 over in the bookstore here. So, I feel guilty looking at it in the bookstore without buying it, though.
The challenge, I would say, for somebody like yourself or somebody who's listening today that maybe already is very busy with different streams of income is I don't think it's the best model for an established person because it is just going to take a while to learn the whole platform, to ins and outs, and I feel like, like I said, I think it's a really good first start for somebody because everybody shops online, and that's the easiest thing. But that's the rub, and I've spent 2 years really learning how to. First, you have to learn all the ins and outs yourself, and then I really was learning how to outsource. So I have a team of about 12 virtual assistants in the Philippines who do the tasks of the business, and I have my niece manages the business, but there's still so many other things in Amazon. So my wife right now is really diving into learning private label and how to identify a trend and a product to then have manufactured, brought in, and then you own that brand. You don't have the competition from other sellers. But it still takes a lot of time on the front end. But the good thing I would say, and why I think private label is probably the best bet for somebody like yourself or a more experienced seller is because once you've identified some product niches, and ideally a product category niche, so let's say you're doing pets, cat trees, cat scratchers, and you could have 2 or 3 or 4 products in the same product category niche, and then you branded that. Well, then you can create your own bundles, you can upsell people much easier, and then you get a compound effect on your time.
Okay.
But the people I know that have been very successful doing private label, the work is on the front end. And then all you have to do once it's going and selling is, you can be looking for new products, but then you just have to keep the manufacturing going, keep the supply chain like you're talking about. And then your work is pretty much done. Once you've established those reviews, it's selling well. So,
well, that sounds interesting. We're going to go to a break right now. And for the listener on podcast, if you go over to Timelines of Success, episode 253, you'll see Jerry's, and we're going to have some little bonus content if you watch the YouTube link. And what we're going to do right now, Jerry, as we go to a break, have a couple seconds of silence. I'm going to bring up your website, the stuff that you laid out to me, and we're going to go over it and look at it if you don't mind.
Cool.
So let me see. Is this it? I'm trying to think. Oh, here it is. Here's one of it says Jerry Mills. Now I came to, let me pull up the site. We'll just talk about this for a couple minutes on. So here we are, folks. If you want to go over, you can see. You'll see it on Google Plus. So there is like your squeeze page. Now I got to that. Let me present to everyone. I got to this site from another page, that jerrymills.me.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chicago, they're out chasing the gangsters.
Some sirens there.
Yeah. So tell me about this page. It's really nice looking. How did you create it?
I outsourced it. I went on Upwork, what was formerly Odesk, and I described the project, basically build my website, and then I had a friend's example, a model, if you will, and I had a couple models. I found websites I liked, and then I basically found somebody and said, "Can you make my website look like this?"
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So he was able to do it. Just a guy from India.
Yeah, well, I've seen people get messed over from India too, big time. You got to be careful.
Oh, I know. Well, I think my background in hiring, and I spent 2 years traveling the country as a career coach, interviewing and so forth. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. So it kind of fits with my skill sets. And then the background working with Filipino VAs has helped. But the good thing with Upwork is if you don't approve the project or they don't do a good job, then you're not out any money.
So you're using Upwork then?
I did use Upwork, and now I've got that contact, and I've recommended him to other projects. So I'm happy to pass that along to anybody. They're obviously always looking for work, and that type of work. But he was very good.
as we finish up the break, I'll show people what crazy it looks like on my desktop. I just flipped up we're actually simulcasting on Google Plus and go over on blab.im. I stopped using Blab for my primary source of recording.
Oh, really?
But I really like this though because I can do stuff like this at the break. So we'll get off the break, and folks, we'll get off. Let me stop sharing real fast and come back, and we'll finish up.
I always enjoyed the Reno area. My brother lived in Sparks for a while. So.
You know why Reno is such a hot place to live? Not just because of hot dog, it's nice because we've got Sparks next door. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, we have a new bridge opening up today. It's Virginia Street Corridor Bridge, going down to it. It's a great place to live. A great place.
You go to Tahoe much?
Yeah. I live at 5,000 feet. I'm on the way. I'm 20 minutes from Truckee. I can walk down to the Truckee River, walk down to downtown in about 45 minutes. And I love it here. It's nice. I used to work downtown on the Truckee River in a think tank area. But it's a good place. It's just nice. I just like it. It's really a great place. Sort of like, I guess, a small Denver without the million people. And we grow on the weekends. We're only about a couple 100,000.
Oh, there we go.
So anyway, let's go on. A couple seconds of silence. That was a nice break, by the way. So Jerry, coming back off the break, I'm going to ask you first of all, what does your wife do? Is she working other work, or how did you transition? How did you make this transition into full-time Amazon?
It's been step by step. So she was working for the same large church where we met at for several years, and then she went to a private video production company. But getting pregnant and having our first child, and the desire was always there to work from home. Mm-hmm. Once Remy came, our little girl, she just couldn't fathom going back to work, and we basically said, hey, we just got to make it work. So our sales have really increased in the last 6 months, and so we're both at home now, and that's kind of cool, caring for her and doing the business. Like I said, she's working on the Amazon private label stuff. I'm working on, like I said, expanding into other things, and part of being here is looking to grow a coaching business and speaking and seeing. We're going to Orlando tomorrow for a kind of a life vision conference of kind of laying things out and looking into real estate investing. And so being able to turn my attention to different things, that's really what Amazon's afforded us.
I was looking at one of your YouTube pages. You were just recently, I think early this month, down in Florida, weren't you, at a convention?
We were in Memphis past month with an Amazon sellers group that I was part of. And then I was in Florida a couple months ago for
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I watched him on Blab for the first time. I could have given him some pointers.
It's cool. He's starting a podcast, so
he skyrocketed his podcast. It's in the top 25.
He's one of those guys that he could do whatever, and all of a sudden, he's got the brand. But I kind of give it's easy, isn't it, as you get older to say But so I really give it up to him that he's always willing to innovate and get with whatever is resonating with people, right now. So
you have to innovate. Things are changing so fast. I mean, in a couple of years I've been podcasting, I've just seen huge changes real fast. I'm not sure what works one day will work the next day. Blab is constantly being developed, and we don't know what's going to be over the horizon. You just got to keep on pushing forward.
That's really neat, and I've actually learned a lot just looking at your videos and Blab. This is my first introduction to Blab, and I was getting aware of it because I saw people like Joel Comm and different people who are on it, and I'm like, okay, these are some of the early adopters. I tend to ride the trend behind that, but I'm always looking, and I see Snapchat. It seems to be really blowing up right now.
Snapchat. I'm ready to stay away from Snapchat. I've got a digital product that's really ready to go. I just need to go and push it out there. It's an inexpensive one. But that first digital product is always tough. And didn't you say you're trying to go that direction too down the road? So you got your Amazon, you're doing some coaching probably in Amazon, right? And then you want to build a digital product. Right. And then I'm gonna start a podcast and that platform thing. But it's deciding what's the right next step, and go Blab. Go start a Blab show every week. Just do a Blab every week.
Yeah.
And then you'll be good when you get to podcast.
Oh, cool.
Just go start blabbing on the same time every day. Talk about Amazon. Send me on a link. I'll watch it a little bit. I'll come on as a guest maybe and say, well, I'm still screwing up. How can I make more than $5 a month?
Cool.
So, no, that's the way to start, honestly. Don't start podcasting right away. It's too much work. There's too many things to do to podcast. Later on, you can podcast once you learn how to get the blab down, and then you go to the next step, inch by inch to the cinch. Hey, we're going to go into life success principles. Now, I only have 2 here. Maybe I missed one. But servant leadership and then work hard and play hard. Did I miss one?
You know, I could never find once I submitted that, I never saw a copy on my end.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it does disappear into the...
I don't even know what I said that day.
servant leadership and work hard. So we need one more. What's one more that you...
I would say outsourcing for sure.
Oh, outsourcing. Okay. I thought you were going to say like faith too, since you're a chaplain. We can put that in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's true too. You know.
Now, as I'm not a chaplain, but you worked in the church. By the way, which church did you meet your wife in?
It's called Willow Creek.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Willow Creek. Is that the big church, Willow Creek?
It is, yeah. It's a mega church, so I would compare it with Bill Hybels is the pastor. Mm-hmm. So very much like Saddleback in Southern California.
Yeah, I'm very aware of Saddleback. Grew up in that area.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Calvary Chapel. I went to Calvary Chapel in high school. Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Oh, well, I was. My mom was our FCA huddle leader in high school because they couldn't find a coach, so they got the music teacher, and she made it the largest club in the school. So. Oh,
that's good. Yeah, our high school had Fellowship of Christian Athletes too. Our football coach was really supportive, which was nice.
Well, that's our background. Is our family business is either music and theater from my mom, and my dad was a high school football coach, and my brother coach. He was a defensive coordinator in Nevada for a few years in the early 2000s.
Nice. I can say a lot of nice things. You know, the LA Rams, really active in our group. I mean, you'd be out there with the Rams, and they come out all the time to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Oh, that's cool.
Now they're coming back. The LA Rams went to St. Louis, and they're coming back.
Well, it's a small world, isn't it? Because my niece, who manages our business, her fiance played football for Oregon State. His dad is a scout for many years for the Rams and played for the Rams.
Oh, really? What was his name?
Agnew.
Agnew. Okay. What did he play? That's okay. We sidetracked a little bit. Now, let's get back to your life and success principles. First of all, what does servant leadership mean to you, and how do you apply it?
Servant leadership to me means that the end goal is how do I serve whoever I'm talking to? How can I benefit what they're doing? How do I raise their arms up? And that's really where great leadership is shown. And we can look at so many different examples. My wife and I are watching the John Adams miniseries.
Oh, it's a great miniseries.
So, sometimes, we have so many channels, so many things on, you miss it. I know I was told about it. Paul Giamatti, just wonderful. Laura Linney. But you can see that right now. The last episode we saw was when they elected John Adams vice president and George Washington president. And they just represent George Washington as this servant leader, a very humble man. And they're portraying John Adams as, he's got ambition and kind of competing with Thomas Jefferson and everything. And George Washington walks in. They all start applauding, and he walks up to John Adams and says, I'm here to serve you. And he's the president. And so, that's a great example. And we can look at, personally, my example is Christ, number one. But so many great leaders throughout history that when you have the real benefit of others, when you don't care who gets the credit, and you just want to help whoever that is who's been brought into your path, it benefits them, and then ultimately it benefits you as well, both internally and then externally.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So driving on, work hard and play hard.
Yeah, that was one of my dad's principles. So my wife and I kind of shut things down this weekend, and one tough thing, and I'm sure you can relate with this, when you have an online business or businesses, is you have to draw your own boundaries, and they can just seep into everything, and especially if there's always more problems to solve, right? So how do you shut it off? And so we have our time, especially when you're working as a husband and wife doing business stuff, and then you start picking on each other, and you're like, why am I upset? Our sales were 7,000 yesterday, but why weren't they 10? And it's like, wait a second. Then it's sort of like a spiral of getting into a place where you're just grinding. So my dad always said you got to work hard and play hard. So work and then leave it and have some fun. And it's a well-rounded life. And again, that's going to serve you much better over the long term. Your sanity, your happiness, your marriage, whatever it is. So the best thing a lot of times you can do for your business is to shut the computer off, go take a walk like we did because it was a balmy 58 degrees, and get out in nature, do something fun.
That's nice in Chicago too. Are the trees turning green right now?
They're starting to bud, but it's been rough. It just snowed the other day, so it's been brutal. So I've been like, Orlando, take me away.
Right. So work hard, play hard. Very good. I just I got away to Las Vegas. I drove to Las Vegas 95, but I listened to a book going and coming, and I love it. And it's a beautiful drive down 95, the backside of the mountains and the desert. It's gorgeous. You think you're in Disneyland. So outsource is your last one. Outsource.
Yeah, I think the first lesson that a lot of us have to learn when you're starting in your own business, especially we just listened to Cash Flow Quadrant on the way down to Memphis and back. So that's sort of like, wow, that's awesome. Like going from this employee mindset to self-employed to business owner is about taking ownership.
That's Robert Kiyosaki?
Yeah. And so a lot of us have to have a mindset shift. Instead of you used to like, oh, I'm going to go get a job and they're going to do this, now you've got to take ownership of it. And most people I've seen fail in this business is not because it doesn't work. It's that they don't have the grit, they don't have the consistency, the stick-to-itiveness to really day in and day out apply the slight edge principles, one of our favorite books, and to keep building on what you've been doing. So once the roadblock then becomes is that you're spending 15 hours a day researching items to list on Amazon, putting it there. Then you start going little, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, right? So really one of the keys, then you become your own biggest bottleneck. So for us, it's like if on the one hand, at first, you've got to be willing to put in the sweat equity and work, learn all aspects of the business. But then you become your biggest bottleneck, and Tony Robbins really talked about that a lot. Then you have to get around with other people, invest in coaching, and then leverage yourself. And so that's what we learned with the Amazon business is how do I save myself more time and get more done by training, outsourcing, staff,
checklists,
do this business, and that's allowed for the exponential growth. But a lot of people then it's a real challenge with that too, learning how to work on your training and managing a staff now or finding somebody to do that and being able to let it go.
Yep, sounds good to me. I'm going to add one to you. Faith. I think, what's faith mean to you?
Faith to me means that your past does not dictate your future, that you have a security in the goodness of God and the roads He can open in front of you. And the rubber really does meet the road, and that's definitely been part of my journey is what do you believe, between your ears? Is it possible? And the stories that we tell ourselves, it reveals your faith or lack of faith. But the most encouraging scripture passage for me, at least with faith, is that all you have to be able to if you're willing, then you have enough faith to go the next step. If you're willing to say, I want to believe, I have just small little seed of faith, then that's really honored, and that is all that God needs to prove Himself, that the past does not dictate your future, and that there can be all sorts of different roads that lead out of that.
Very good. So with that, we're going to go to a break, and at the break, we're going to take about 2 minutes. We're going to look at my resources page. You're going to tell me how to fix it so I can make more than $5 a month.
Cool.
I'm just having fun. Here is the resource. Here's the resources page. Let me see. Did I pull it? Where did you go? Let me do that again. Maybe I shared the wrong page. Resources, share. Well, only 5 minutes. Last question will be, why is not that sharing? Come on. That is weird. It's not pulling. Let me see. Okay,
I can see it.
I'm hitting share. It should now want to go share everybody. Oh, you know why? Because I froze you in place in that last one.
Huh.
So I'm present to everyone. Now you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my, I can tell you what not to do. I've got 20 websites and I experiment. This is on something called DigitalOcean, which is pretty amazing.
Digital what?
DigitalOcean. It's a solid-state SSD server out of San Francisco, but it doesn't have a cPanel. Very, very difficult to set up. Jonathan Denwood helped me set this up. And I like to be able to have some controls.
Yeah.
He and I do WP Tonic, which is rated 1, 2, or 3 on WordPress category for iTunes. But it's all techies. I mean, some people watch from outside, but the hardcore folks are really tech oriented.
And I saw that you're involved with politics stuff too.
We screw around with politics, yeah. I was before the war. I was a city councilman. But I'm looking at here's my site. Here's what I recommend. This USB mic today. Watch this. So I hit that, and that's $50 a day. That's as cheap as it gets right now, unless you live by the factory. So people buy that. I make a little bit of money when somebody buys that. But that's all I do. And then here's the Audio-Technica Cardio. This is about $25 more, but it's even better. It's a stronger, same guts but different shape and a little bit different sound. That's a better one, and you always want to buy one of these. Those two things. One of these, you buy that and that together.
This is better for podcasting.
Oh, absolutely. It's much better than what you buy. I hardly ever use the Yeti. I just use it as a prop.
I feel bad that I spend $100 on the Yeti.
Yeah, and that's expensive for what you get if you knew the guts of it. So the ProLine mic stand for $32, which you can order online, it's $31 right there. I like that better than the boom mic. In fact, I might go back to using these tools. In the field, this is what I use. I use these types of mics. And I've got this expensive system which really doesn't pay for what you have. So those three things. But that said, let me go back to my site here. So this is just I always felt that everyone should do a minimum of this. But what I've had problems with is, for some reason, Amazon over 2 years has knocked off 2 of my accounts. I've called them once back, and then I set up another account. I don't know why they do that. You ever heard of that happening?
No. I mean, again, I think it's one of those things that's there's so many different ways to make money on Amazon. I don't even do whatever it's called, where you get paid via referral links. So I signed up.
Affiliate. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah, Well, one thing I would say is that it may be helpful just to talk with, see if you can get. It always helps to call in to talk with them so they have a record.
I've talked to them once. If you can get a hold of it.
Yeah. So it may just be IP is flagged because they've already canceled one, and then they saw you open another one.
Yeah.
Maybe before talking to them.
I will in the future.
And I will tell people that you never want to use a Prime account for selling for business.
Yeah, that's what I have right now. I've got a Prime account.
So yeah, I've got like 4 Amazon accounts, and one is specifically for purchasing items. It's non-Prime. And I've got a Prime account, which is just for our household for buying things, and then I've got a seller account, which is just for selling. So you don't want to cross the streams, as Ghostbusters taught us.
Interesting. I think you're right there. I'll listen to this again. I think just inference. I think that's definitely keep it separate, because here's the problem. If I've got Timelines has a huge 300 posts on it, so there's links that are all screwed up through that whole thing. I got to go back through because of the Prime changing. So that's probably one of the basics ones, set up a separate account. And one thing I think everyone should probably set some of this up, because you get a little bit of money off of it, but you work for it too.
Sure. Well, especially if you've got a blog or traffic, that people are going to. And
here's another question. I'm going to throw this over here too. Is this your site? No, I don't think that's your site. Special guest. Maybe it is. I don't know. Let me ask. Are you associated with this site at all?
Can't see anything as of yet.
Let me hit it back in there, because I have logged in.
So that is a course. That is a course that I've been a part of.
Really?
So I'm an affiliate for this Amazon coaching course.
Oh, really? What's the name of it?
It's called Outsource Lifestyle.
How do you like? Did you do this initially, or how did you get involved with it?
Not initially, but it was sort of like, again, we were ready to take it to the next level.
Okay.
obviously there's a lot about learning how to outsource and then marrying that with Amazon.com, selling on Amazon. So
Okay.
it's a very premium product. I'm not sure. I think the entry level is 1,000 right now, and then they have Inner Circle, which is maybe 5 or 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
But they do a lot of done-for-you training videos that you can share with your virtual
Yeah.
assistants and things like that.
And that's where you're going next, right? You're going to make your own online
I'm gonna
training.
make my own, yeah.
Yeah, well, come back to us when you do and do another show and launch it.
Cool.
Hey, so let's get off the break and finish up here. Okay, coming off the break with Jerry. For those who want to get the prime content, you got to go over to Timelines of Success or Timelines Netcast, and go to this episode 252 and watch the YouTube, or go to our YouTube site. You know, one of the things I always say is I've got way too many sites out there. Podcasters Homes is one of my brands, so we're actually recording everything back on podcastershome.com, but you can go to the YouTube, site for that, and that's one thing I think I've got some tricks too. We were just talking on the break about, setting up a separate Amazon account just for Amazon. Don't mix it with your Home Prime account, which is what I did. Probably definitely a mistake. Should have talked to Jerry first. So that said, let's finish up. So how can the listener get in contact with you?
Well, my favorite platform is still Twitter, and I'm just at Jerry Mills on Twitter. And what I'm finding, tell me what your thoughts on this, Bill. And I haven't even built up really funnels and all those things yet, but I'm finding I get followed on Twitter and I want to have a conversation, and then I go and look, and it's just all marketing messages. It's all broadcast, and I just think that we're going to flip back to the place where people just want to have conversations. And so I retweet funny things I see and pictures of our daughter, and just, it's a place where you can be online and be a real person, at least to me. So.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think Twitter's one of the accounts you have to have and learn. I'm probably not the best Twitter person out there. It's something that I use and play with, and stumble around. But it's definitely one of those platforms you need to use. That's like Facebook. You need to have half personal and half business if you have real estate. Real estate's one of our sources of income. I'm big into trying to get multi-sources of income because I couldn't make it just on any one of these. I've got a military retirement, so.
I'm with you.
Driving on. So finishing up, what can the listener do to help you?
Well, I would say, just consider what is the best next step for yourself, and look at what you can add to your business portfolio, as you're saying, Bill. What's the easiest next stream that's going to save you time and money, and hit me up on Twitter, and that's it.
Very good, very good. So finally, last question: what's your favorite food in Chicago?
Well, it's too much Chicago deep dish pizza. So that's why I'm on a perpetual cleanse of some sort. It's a cycle. It's a vicious circle of life in Chicago.
So which is your favorite pizza place in Chicago?
Well, there's a chain called Lou Malnati's, and we've got one here in my neighborhood, and that's kind of my favorite chain, I would say, that's close to us. Although I did live in New York for 5 years, and we've got a Joe's Pizza around the corner, and it's got a nice foldable slice. So when I want to mix it up, and when I want to be portable or on a diet, then I get a diet pizza slice there from Joe's.
We eat a lot of pizza in our household too, but it's Costco's.
There you go.
Not too bad. It's better than Domino's. So driving on, we're sort of finishing up the show. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. A lot of good information.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hopefully the content's less than 30 minutes, which I think it will be on the podcast. We went a little long today. Hey, I want to flip you back to Blab real fast. Let me put the Blab link in,
Okay.
and we're going to stop the broadcast right now.
All right.